me about you and tell me about Carnival, because I have to say I was pulling together my notes last night, and then I kind of woke up this morning and had to certainly tweak them. Tell me about the CDC now possibly offering to or allowing ships to be out and running by midsummer. What's changed with the CDC, and what are the restrictions that are going to have to happen in order for that to actually come to fruition?
Well, as you might recall, Carol, the CDC, I think last October, issued a conditional sail order, and they came out in phases. The first phase was bringing ships back in the U.S. waters, and was primarily with minimal crew on board. We finished that phase of it in terms of having ourselves 30 ships that are currently in green status. They issued on April 2nd the next phase. Frankly, what has been issued doesn't give us a specific time to be able to return, and also is really not workable in the current form. But again, it just came out, and we have an opportunity to discuss with the CDC and the administration to make certain that we do have something that's workable, and hopefully that would allow us to be able to sail in July. And we're hoping it'll be something that's more in line with the advancements of vaccines that's occurred and the rapid advancement of the vaccines that the administration has been so successful with, as well as the advancement in treatments and the advancements in rapid testing, none of which existed when the original conditional sail order was written. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to meet with the administration and CDC and come up with something that's practical and will allow people to return to their choice of vacation travel and get a whole lot of Americans back to work. As you know, Carol, over 500,000 people are impacted in the U.S. In terms of jobs associated with the cruise industry outside of the cruise companies themselves.
No, it affects a lot of other jobs and other industries connected with the cruise industry. Hey, one thing I got to ask you, Arnold, is how much of Carnival threatening to relocate their ships to other markets outside the United States do you think was the reason for the CDC change? Because it was just a few days ago that they came out, and we're still kind of holding firm. What happened? What were the conversations that maybe you and other members of the cruise line industry had with the CDC?
There was no threat or anything. It's just a practical reality that if we're not able to sail from the U.S. In some months soon, we would have to sail from elsewhere. And so some of the ships would home port, and a number of companies have already announced home porting ships that normally would have been sailing out of the U.S., home porting from different places in the Caribbean. But it's not a threat or anything. It's just a natural outcome of not being able to sail, from the U.S. I'm not sure anything has changed. Perhaps it has. I haven't heard directly from the CDC or the administration anything has changed. I think that they genuinely believe the information they put out might allow some limited sailing as early as July. And so we'll have to discuss that with them. Our timelines don't quite match up with that, but maybe we don't understand everything. So the CDC has a job to do. They're trying to do their job. I think as long as we work together with the CDC and the administration, we can all get cruise, back soon, and we can get it back safe, was in the interest of public health, and we can have all those 500,000 workers no longer suffer from not being able to earn a wage and do their jobs in the ports and the various travel agents and all the other things that are connected to cruise.
Well, Arnold, does it feel like that there's a more constructive conversation with the CDC right now? And I ask that because I do also wonder, is there kind of a last straw for you that if the CDC in a couple of months isn't clearer about what it will take to get ships, U.S. home ported ships, up and running, is there a point where you're going to say, okay, I'm done, and we're going to move ships abroad?
As you know, we have 9 brands, Carol. So about 59 of our 90 ships are not under the conditional sail order. They don't, sail in the U.S. anyway. And so there we are already active and sailing. And we've announced sailings in the UK. We've announced sailings in Greece. AIDA, our German brands, are already sailing from the Canary Islands, all on a limited basis at this point, but is movement in the right direction. And we're optimistic that we'll be able to do the same here and continue to dialogue with the CDC. I think one of the big issues here is the relative mentality around risk. So today, you could board a plane, fly to a country, get on a cruise ship and sail, fly back from that country and come back to the United States. You have to do certain testing, et cetera, but you can do that. And today, even if vaccinated, you can't get on a cruise ship in the U.S. And that's whether you're vaccinated or not in terms of what you could do outside, from the U.S. Going somewhere else to get on a cruise ship. And if you look at other travel and entertainment sectors, you talked about spring break down in Miami, or you look at arenas where people are starting to be able to attend sporting events, restaurants, hotels, resorts, air travel. There's a level of risk management and mitigation. And so we would like to just be treated similarly to the rest of the travel and tourism sector. And we also obviously have enhanced protocols already in place versus many of those sectors, medical
Well,
screening,
does it not
medical
make
centers on board, et cetera.
forgive me for interrupting, but does it not make sense to you, Arnold, that for planes, people get on a plane and they're sitting right next to each other. There seems to be kind of different requirements for people in different parts of the tourism industry, and yet you folks are still waiting, to be able to get up and running. Is this disparate treatment fair in your view?
I think, again, I think everyone is trying to do what they think is best for public health. And I think together we can work and find a way forward. It's true, you get on a plane. Some people say, well, you're only on a plane for a few hours. But you are sitting right next to someone. Before you got on the plane, you were in an airport terminal. Before you were on the airport terminal, you were in some kind of transportation. Before that, you came from somewhere. When you land, you go to another airport terminal. And then you get in an automobile or a bus or whatever you get on for transport. And then you go places. You might go to a restaurant. You might stay in a hotel. You may go to a resort and all of that activity. And a cruise is a city at sea.